This is calling the agenda for the 10/20 for on April 9th at 10:20 a.m. This is room 211. This meeting, including the audio and video of remote participants, is being streamed live on YouTube. You'll find links to viewing options for all Senate meetings on the live and on-demand video page of the legislature's website. In the unlikely event that we have to abruptly end this hearing due to major technical difficulties, the committee will reconvene to discuss any outstanding business on Friday, April 10th at 10:45 a.m. in this room. A public notice will be posted on the legislature's website. We would appreciate testifiers to stand in your written testimony as committee has received and reviewed your written comments. For the people participating remotely, I guess we're not real. All testifier audio will be muted, video disabled until shortly before your turn to testify. In an effort to accommodate as many testifiers as possible, we will enforce a 1-minute limit on verbal testimony. Timer will be visible. If there are temporary technical glitches during your turn to testify, we may have to move on to the next person due to time constraints. We appreciate your understanding. Remind you that the committee has your written testimony. I will now turn this over. We have in this agenda, we have a joint hearing of the Committees on Agriculture and Environment, Committee on Health and Human Services, and the Committee of Ways and Means. So I will turn the gavel over to Chair Gabbard.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So
HB 16.
one item on the agenda, HB 1618 HD1, relating to cesspool conversions, establishes and appropriates funds for a cesspool conversion revolving loan fund to be administered by the Hawaii Green Infrastructure Authority to provide financial assistance, including low interest or forgivable loans to eligible homeowners for the upgrade, conversion, or connection of cesspools. First up, testifiers, we have the OPSD, Mary Alice Evans. Support. Thank you. Hawaii Green Infrastructure Authority. Thank you. DLNR, Charles Taylor. Okay, Department of Health. The PUC, Johnny Tamura. Okay, and then on Zoom, we have Hawaii Bankers Association, Mihoko Ito, Tiffany Yajima.
Not present on Zoom, Chair.
Okay, with comments, Jessica Paisley from Wastewater Alternatives and Innovations on Zoom.
Good morning, chairs, vice chairs, members of the committee. Vi stands on our written testimony, and I would simply add that as we have heard, cost is the largest barrier to cesspool conversion. This bill would help to alleviate this burden. And finally, I would add and reiterate testimony that we've heard from Mr. Ted Boland, how important this is in the context of the recent Kona storms. Situations like this will increase and continue to necessitate this urgency. And mahalo for the opportunity to testify on this important bill.
Thank you. Surfrider Foundation, Hannah Lilly.
Not present on Zoom, Chair.
Okay, in support, Hawaii State Association of Counties.
Also not present on Zoom, Chair.
Oh, she's here. Thank you. And that's Nahalani Parsons. Thank you. Zoom, Frederick Smith. On Zoom, Frederick.
Yeah, hi. Aloha, chairs, vice chairs, and members of the committee. My name is Frederick Smith. I live in the Kealakekua, Pua, and Kona, and I'm a homeowner with a cesspool. So I understand firsthand the cost barriers that this bill addresses. And I strongly support HB 1618 HD1. Cesspool conversion is one of the most important actions the state of Hawaii can take to reduce pollution impacting public health in nearshore reefs, but the cost remains a major barrier for me and many of my neighbors in South Kona. This revolving loan fund is a critical step towards helping us convert away from cesspools. I'd like to offer one suggestion. The bill already allows the fund to receive federal, state, county, and private funding, but as it moves forward, I really encourage the legislature to ensure that these funding sources are not just allowed, but actually get used, including tax-deductible donations and grants, and allowing fund managers to actively pursue outside funding. This could significantly expand the impact of the fund while reducing reliance on state funding. Mahalo for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you, Frederick. Next is Kennedy Jackson on Zoom.
Aloha. I'm not sure why my video is not starting, but I just want to say
Can't see
aloha.
you.
No, why is it not working?
What'd she say?
You stop.
Kennedy, are you there? On Zoom? Okay, in support. Anyone else wishing to testify on this measure, please come forward.
Thank you, chairs, vice chairs, members of the committees. Ted Boland on behalf of the Hawaii Reef and Ocean Coalition in strong support of this bill. We have the biggest wastewater problem in the state is cesspools. This is emphasized right now by the flooding that has occurred with the Kona storms. And there's a lot of, within the pollution of the flooding, there is a lot of cesspool waste because the cesspools flood, the contents come up, and it's in the water now. So a lot of people are walking around in water that is polluted. And that emphasizes the need to upgrade cesspools as soon as possible. The biggest barrier, as was said in testimony, is financing. And this bill would provide the opportunity for people who are low and moderate income to obtain low interest loans. It's a really critical bill in terms of making cesspool upgrades affordable for people. And I strongly urge the committee to adopt it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ted. Anyone else?
Aloha chairs, vice chairs, and members of the committees. My name is Hannah Lisiak, and I'm testifying on behalf of the Ocean Legislative Task Force in strong support of this measure. One of our core priorities this legislative session, and has been for many years, is cesspool conversion and wastewater management. And as stated by previous testifiers, one of the biggest barriers to cesspool conversions is cost. And we think that this measure would greatly help with that. I also wanted to mention one small recommendation for this measure, and that is to change the defective date to effective upon approval by the governor. And the reason for that is so that the city and county of Honolulu can start contributing funds towards this cause immediately. Our task force represents over 150 individuals across over 20 organizations, and I want to thank you for hearing this measure. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Members, any questions?
Question.
Senator DeCoy?
Yeah. Gwen, how much are you guys requesting in funds? General appropriations?
Yeah, so I think to start maybe $1 million.
1 mil.
Yeah, to start. And as it gets closer to the deadline, the needs will probably increase.
How much of the increase? How much increase?
I don't know. So I just want to kind of start and so if an average cost of cesspool conversion is about $20,000 to $40,000, and we have 80 some odd thousand cesspools to convert, it just kind of depends on the demand and how quickly the adopters will lean into this.
Because I think when you guys in 2022, the cesspool pilot program was 5 million, and you guys blew through that. So
So actually,
asking for 1 million.
well,
and
I know funding is tight. So the difference between that, though, is that was a very popular program run by the Department of Health, and it was grants. So they blew through it really quickly. I think they had maybe over 500 applications
how
on
many
that.
cesspool conversions you guys loans you expect to make with the money?
$1 million divided by 40,000. I guess I'm sorry to start. You know, if there is additional funds, we would appreciate it. I think the public would appreciate it because there's so many that needs to be converted. But I just want to be cognizant of the funding challenges of this year.
What if we was to put this under the green fee?
That is actually part of my testimony to amend the language in the bill to get, because I think the most important thing is to have reoccurring funding sources that can be relied upon by the public so that they know it's available. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Oh,
Question?
follow-up question. Knowing how expensive it is, have you folks thought about another financing method like tax credits?
That's possible. Possibly though, and I just used the people that we loan to right now on the solar. You know, some of the people that we want to help, they don't have much tax liability, so tax credits wouldn't necessarily help them. But I think putting more tools in the tool chest will help address this problem, whether it's tax credits, low-cost loans.
But when you folks made this request for the special fund, and frankly, I didn't realize how expensive it was when I converted my cesspools into septic, and it did not cost $40,000. I'm just letting you know, okay? But that's Big Island. I don't know how expensive it is here on Oahu. Molokai 60.
Yeah, I think it
But
depends on the
And the reason I'm
location,
bringing
right?
up the tax credit, because it's similar in price as
Yeah.
putting up solar, right? And it doesn't seem like there is as much state outlay, and maybe I'm wrong because I don't sit in WAM. It doesn't look like an initial funding demand as high for a tax credit type of financing similar to that of solar as it would this special fund for cesspool conversion.
So, you know, one of the things we were talking about in trying to design this, if it does pass, is how do we get people to convert today versus waiting to 2048 or 2049, right?
Okay.
And perhaps providing tax credits, knowing that it might not last all the way to 2049, might help early adopters lean in faster, knowing that they might get a loan financing option and tax credits might help them convert quicker.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
if we're gonna finish the WAM things, we can't ask too many more questions.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, my question was just how much have you had in your, in the authority, your total budget aside from what we're talking about only for cesspools?
I don't have anything. for
Okay, can you
cesspools.
get that to us as well?
It's a zero.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you still getting, income, in your authority from HECO? The utility bills, that's,
Loan
you're
repayment,
surviving on that.
loan repayments. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna go into to DM right now. So we okay with you?
That's slow.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Maybe that's slow.
Okay, the chairs having conferred, we're going to decision making. The recommendation is to pass with amendment to defect the date to July 1st, 2050. Any discussion?
Yeah, discussion.
Yeah.
So let me answer my question. Right now, again, we're putting money, $1 million for a loan. If I'm 80 years old, I'm not gonna be able to do them. Passing my house over to my child is not gonna happen. So this is something that we're not even looking at, and we brought this up numerous of times. Why cesspool conversion? City gonna have to still bring in sewer to my district, miles and miles away before they can connect. That's gonna cost a lot of money for the city to do that with this, moving this forward. And my community cannot afford it. We stay like 20 miles away from the ocean. I hear all these guys talking about how great the ocean is to go to. Not one Department of Health came and told me the study of how much the sewer in my community is contaminating my reef. Nobody goes to Pearl Harbor. They contaminating my community. But again, try to put the cost and saying it's a low interest loan. It's still a loan. We're not even having other things like septic, like I taught you guys in the committee. My community was spending $60,000 on the septic. You know what the Department of Health and the city said? Sorry, you still got to convert to the cesspool. I mean to the sewer line.
Okay.
So if they have that in the bill saying, okay, if you will convert to septic, then you exempt from tying into the sewer. Then we'd have a lot of more happy campers, because when you build more in Ever Beach, expand the house, you have to put in a septic tank. That's what the Department of Health, Planning and Permitting say. So they spend 60,000, and then they still gotta make a loan for another 40,000 to convert their septic to sewer. So I cannot support this bill because it's not really addressing nobody in my district. And then the neighbor islands, they're gonna suffer, but they don't even have a sewer plant. Look at Kikaha, thousands of miles away. So again, this doesn't, it sounds good on paper, $1 million, but it's reality. All of our constituents going to suffer, all of them, because they cannot.
Thank you. I think it's important that the conversation continue. So for AEN, the chair votes aye, vice chair.
On House Bill 1618, House Draft 1, passing with amendments, chair votes aye, vice chair votes aye. Senator DeCoit. Senator Rhodes.
Aye.
Senator Awa. Chair, you have 5 in favor, motion adopted.
Thank you, members.
Chair, same recommendation. Chair votes aye, vice chair for the vote.
Okay, recommendation on 1618 is a Senate Draft 1. Chair votes aye, I vote aye. Let's see, noting the presence of all members of the committee, are there any WRs or no's?
No vote.
All right, that's what I was waiting for. Thank you very much. Your recommendation is adopted.
Same recommendation, Ways and Means.
To pass with amendments, Senator De La Cruz, chair votes aye, vice chair votes aye, Senator DeCoit.
Reservations.
Senator Elafante.
Aye.
Senator Hashimoto.
Aye.
Senator Inoue.
Aye.
Senator Kanuha. Senator Kidani.
Reservations.
Senator Kim.
Aye.
Senator Kim. Aye. Senator Lee.
Aye.
Senator Richards.
Aye.
Senator Wakai.
Reservations.
Recommendation adopted.
Senator Fivello?
Oh,
No.
Favela, no.
Yeah, she
I
might
got
hear
it.
no.
And did she make the announcement? Okay. Okay, that concludes the 1020 agenda. Mahal.
Okay, calling to order the 1031 agenda. This is House Bill 2547. Yeah, we have one testifier, BNF. Anyone else wishing to testify?
47.
Okay, if not, recommendation is to pass with amendments effecting the date to 2050. Any discussion? Not chair votes aye.
All members present, anyone voting no with reservation, recommendation adopted.
Thank you.
Convening the Joint Judiciary and Ways and Means, one of our agendas at 10:30. This is HB 2592 relating to the Mauna Kea Stewardship and Oversight Authority. The recommendation here is to pass with amendments. Will require the MKSOA to accept the property and the liability from the transferred property in Section 4, and also will not change. We will not change the liability rules compared to what UH is currently operating under. Per the AG's testimony, we can't get rid of liability completely anyway. If MKSOA takes the liability, it will just be transferring risk from one government agency, UH, to another MKSOA. We'll accept the AG's amendments on conditional district use permits, i.e. if UH doesn't transfer them to the observatories before the turnover date, then they're automatically transferred to the authority at turnover. We'll accept the AG's language on lease extensions prior to transfer, i.e. give the authority the requisite authority to extend leases before the transfer. This is AG's second alternative in their testimony. And then we'll replace the existing reversion triggers with the following. If MKSOA does not adopt a management plan for Mauna Kea by June 30, 2028, management shall revert back to the University of Hawaii. If MKSOA does not pass administrative rules to allow MKSOA to effectively manage Mauna Kea based on the management plan by December 31st, 2029, then management shall revert to the University of Hawaii. Also specified that the authority will only get the interest UH currently has, which is a lease. Fee will remain with DLNR. Okay. Questions or concerns? If not, yes.
So your bullet point number 5, does that address then DLNR's recommendation that the public trust under the management of the BLNR be amended? So that would make sure that it'll revert back to the board on the fee, yeah?
Yeah, that's
fee-
what, that's what it last said.
The fee
Yeah.
would never change. The fee was.
Yeah, so we'd stay with BLNR.
Yes.
Yeah, just to make sure
Okay.
and confirm. Thank you so much for working on this.
Other questions from
I
sir?
got a question. So, I know we get a time stamp over here that Mauna Kea, they don't have it up and going. It's gonna divert back to the University of Hawaii. From my experience talking with all of those guys, they're not on the same page. University kind of stalling a lot of this movement in the transferring over things to the Mauna Kea board. So again, how are we gonna keep them to the fire to expedite their part in getting these things transferred over?
No, so what this does is if the authority does the management plan, not UH, if they do the management plan by a certain date, they keep going. If they do their administrative rules by a certain date, they keep going.
Yeah, thank you, Chair.
Other questions or concerns? If not, Senator Gabbard for the vote on 2592 with amendments.
For AEN, Chair Rhodes.
Aye.
Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Chang.
Aye.
Senator Sanborn Matsuda.
Reservations.
Senator Owan. Right. Measures adopted.
Ways and Means, same recommendation.
All members present, anyone voting no with reservation, recommendation adopted.
Okay, I believe that concludes that agenda. You're up next.
Okay, IT.
Okay, going live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, calling to order the Joint Committee Ways and Means and Judiciary. First item on this agenda is House Bill 2033. Okay, recommendation is going to be passed with amendments. The AG suggested amendments to clarify the definition of state and to implement a delayed effective date for Part 5, Section 7, 8, and 9, and taking the ACRA suggested amendment to allow rental or U-Drive vehicle lessors to avoid liability by providing renter information so the citation may be issued to the renter, and delete Part 4 of the bill. And we'll let the committee report reflect including language for rules on administrative hearings as found in HB 2031.
Clarify that the system used +1 making it.
Recess.
Okay, then we would also like to add, clarify that the system used for this is for the bus cameras for passing it when the arm is down and the lights are flashing. Clarify that the system can be used for cars coming from any direction, not just failing to stop from behind, and specify that the cameras or sensors can be anywhere on the exterior of the bus, not just on the arm. Okay.
Okay, if not, any discussion? Chair votes aye.
All members present, anyone voting no with reservation, recommendation is adopted.
Same recommendation for JDC. Any questions or concerns? If not, Senator Gabbard.
Are there any no votes or reservations? No. There was a no vote. It is adopted.
You're next. Oh, do you want me to
Let's go recess.
Okay.
A short recess.
Okay, calling meeting back to order. So next item is House Bill 1888. This is a JDC-WAM referral, but I'm going to begin with some amendments and then the Judiciary Chair will continue. So the recommendation will be to pass with amendments. We're going to insert SB 3179 ST1 and we'll make further amendments by expanding the bill to include not only educational workers, but also sports officials. We're adding SB 2900's definition of sports official, which means a person at a sports event, at sports events, including but not limited to a sport event at a public or private school, who enforces the rules of the event, such as an umpire, referee, timer, or scorer, or a person who supervises the participants, such as a coach or a league or school administrator, regardless of whether the person is paid or provides their service as an unpaid volunteer. We're going to also include language that makes intentional bodily harm of an educational worker or sports official engaged in the lawful discharge of the educational worker or sports official's duties as a Class C.
Class C felony with the second offense is a Class B.
Okay, Class C felony with the second offense being Class B. And
I'm sorry, within 10 years. Within 10 years.
okay.
Yeah.
And we'll also have this applied to educational workers and sports officials. We also include clarifying language that authorities authorizes the Attorney Generals to assist educational workers or sports officials who have been subject to harassment or intentional bodily injury with obtaining a temporary restraining order. And we'll have this applied to educational workers and sports officials. And does it have an effective date? Yeah.
Chair, can I just add to that? Just to clarify that this amendments will put in the original language of the definition of a educational worker, which includes administration. I think that was a question. So our bill had it in, but this amendments that were made erroneously put in the wrong definition.
Yeah. So that's the same definition from SB 2900.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is in it.
Yeah.
SB 20.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, Chair votes aye.
Okay, all members present, anyone voting no with reservation, recommendation is adopted.
Okay, for JDC members, same recommendation. Any questions or concerns? If not, Vice Chair.
Any no votes or reservations? Hearing none, the measure adopted.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, calling to order the 10:55 agenda, starting with House Bill HB 1515. For House Bill 1850, House Bill 1515. Excuse me. Recommendation for House Bill 1515 is to pass unamended. Any discussion?
All members present, anyone voting no with reservation, recommendation is adopted.
Next item, House Bill 1713, recommendation is to pass unamended. Any discussion? Not Chair votes aye.
Anyone voting no with reservation, recommendation adopted.
Thank you. Next item, House Bill 1718, recommendation is to pass unamended. Any discussion?
Any noes, any reservations, recommendation adopted.
Thank you. Next item, House Bill 1741, recommendation is to pass with amendments. We're going to adopt the City and County of Honolulu's suggested amendments to focus the study requirements on broad goals rather than prescribing exact methodology, clarifying the exemption for voluntary opt-in programs, add a carve-out for minor ordinance amendments that reduce regulatory burdens, and add a delayed implementation date of July 1st, 2028. We'll delete language in Section 1 that would require the county to adopt a dual compliance framework for certain housing projects. Delete language that would require the county to either adopt incentives to offset the cost of compliance with a mandate or show through a needs assessment study that requirements do not increase prices when adopting, amending, or enforcing inclusionary mandates on certain residential projects, and will defect the date to 2050. Any discussion?
Chair, thank you for your recommendation. With your proposed amendments, I'll be voting in support. Previously, in the previous joint committee, I voted no because of the concerns. So the amendments that you make and taking the city and county's testimony addresses the concerns I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Yes, same here, Chair. Previously, but
Thank you.
amendments I'll be supporting.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Chair votes aye.
Anyone voting no with reservation, recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. Next item, House Bill 2022, recommendation is to pass unamended. Any discussion? Chair votes aye.
Anyone voting no with reservation, recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. Next item, House Bill 2375, recommendation is to defer. Next item, House Bill 2385, recommendation is to pass unamended. Any discussion? Not, chair votes aye.
Anyone voting no with reservation, recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. Adjourned.